the News Channel 5 network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine on this Monday. Nick Barris here. I do hope you had a very nice weekend. We've got a great show on tap for you this morning. We're going to open up the phone lines and let you ask questions or voice your opinion one way or the other on the issue of medical marijuana, cannabinoids, CBD oil, what the laws are in Tennessee and where we are going. I want to hear from you on this, and we're going to try to give you some good information, that can help you make some decisions for yourself, whether or not you think it's a good idea to legalize some aspect of this in Tennessee. And the truth is, some of it already is legal in Tennessee, whereas though under federal law, things are a bit different. And that's where it gets so darn confusing, right? So we'll get into that. We'll open up the phone lines in just a moment. One quick note I want to make about a longtime friend of this family, of our Channel 5 family here, who's been watching Channel 5 and part of MorningLine for years, is Grady. And Grady is someone who's very special to me. I've met him personally, and we've known him for years. And many of you who have followed the show came to know him and know him. And Grady's doing well. This past week, he celebrated his 54 years of marriage to his lovely wife, Sandra, who, though, was very ill and who was in hospice care. And I learned from Grady's daughter this morning that Sandra did pass away. And I don't do this often on this show. We have many people, that we're close to who pass, and I can't possibly mention all of them when it happens, but I wanted to do this for Grady. He's a special person. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family over the loss of his wonderful wife. I can only imagine what a saint she was to have put up with you, Grady, all these years. And she probably was an even better cook than you. But after 54 years of marriage, you celebrated that last anniversary and she passed. And my condolences to you, and I know all of our News Channel 5 family send that out as well, Grady. I don't know if he's watching this morning, but if he's not, I'll get in touch with him later. But I just wanted to mention that. He's a special person, and so is his family. And my heart goes out to them for this loss this morning. All right, let's move on now to our topic at hand, which is medical marijuana. Should medical marijuana be legal in Tennessee? We're not talking recreational here, at least not yet. Other states have done so, but Tennessee medical marijuana. To talk about it with us this morning is David Hairston with Safe Access Tennessee. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Thank you for coming on. And Americans for Safe Access, we should just say the mission of Americans for Safe Access, of which Safe Access Tennessee is part of, to ensure safe and legal access to cannabis, marijuana for therapeutic use and research. And we're here to talk about medical marijuana in Tennessee.
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so much information, I think, misinformation out there. Trying to decide where to start. Let's specify, if you will, what medical marijuana, if it became a reality, and to what degree it already is in Tennessee, what does it mean for the consumer?
Well, for our consumers, particularly those with epilepsy and other very severe conditions, I myself suffer from an inflammatory autoimmune disease. These medicines have proven very effective in the treatment and amelioration of these disease conditions. So in Tennessee, we have an industrial hemp program. Cannabidiol, CBD, is a legal product in our state.
So it is legal in Tennessee right now?
Absolutely. Under the industrial hemp program in Tennessee, it is absolutely legal.
We should say that industrial hemp looks just like, if you will, marijuana, okay? And it is a cannabis, is it not?
Absolutely, it's the same plant.
Industrial hemp is what they use. You probably heard of hemp rope and jeans made out of hemp, and if you were to harvest it and smoke it, you would not get stoned. Industrial hemp has none of the THC drug in it, correct?
It has a very low level.
Okay, I guess it has a trace amount, nothing that's going to make you high.
In fact, this has been a plant that man has used for some 12,000 years.
Okay.
It has been used medicinally for 4,000 years.
Yeah.
The idea that we should prohibit it for medicinal use is a crazy idea from the 1930s.
Okay.
In human history, this is commonly been used for all types of industrial applications, as you pointed out, and most particularly as medicine. And we're not talking about one or two cultures, broadly across human culture and human mankind.
You can even buy, I bought some hemp seed hearts the other day, which are very high in protein. I've even used hemp protein, okay? So it's everywhere already legally in many forms, all right?
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you about Operation Candy Crush, which made some headlines here locally. I think it was was it last week or early last week or the week before, where the authorities in Rutherford County raided several markets where they said they had undercover buys of these gummies that were being sold that had cannabinoids in them. And so they shut down these markets, confiscated all the money from this. There was a hearing on Friday, by the way, which allowed the markets to reopen. It's still being looked at. What was your take on that? Because when I saw this, I was scratching my head. The DA told me, and I talked to him personally, why did you bust these? I mean, this has CBD oil, which we'll get into more. And he said, well, we sent samples of what was bought undercover to the TBI, and they came back that it tested positive for a Schedule 6 drug. So that was enough for him to say, let's go shut these places down.
Well, I guess my first reaction was shock at the level of ignorance and incompetence on law enforcement's part with respect to the execution of this raid. Consider now they're talking about consumer products. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with all of the consumer products and that the origin of those products are from the industrial hemp program. I would presume at least some of the products are. There could be a case where those products have been shipped in from China and contain adulterated items.
Right.
And for that, I think, you know, it is important that our regulatory authorities ensure that we have safe products. However, to shut down small business people who did not create the product but who are reselling a commercially available product is beyond the pale for law enforcement to take those actions. It in fact smells of political intimidation. That's what it sounds like to me.
And ultimately, I think for most people out there, they're going to say, well, the candies, was there any of the chemical, the THC in there, that if someone consumed it, they would get that marijuana high? Or is it just the CBD? Can you make the differentiation between the two of them and why there are some where you'll get both, but CBD oil, and come arrest me right now. I had some of that this weekend. I used it this weekend. By the way, I got it legally here in the state of Tennessee. It's in these drops. And when my muscles are sore, I take CBD oil. Please come arrest me. It's ridiculous. It does not make me high. It is legal, is it not? I bought it legally in Tennessee.
Absolutely
it's
legal
CBD
product.
oil. I wonder if I sent that to the TBI, they would come back and test it positive for cannabinoid.
I'm certain it'd be tested positive. CBD is a cannabinoid.
Okay, so it tests positive for that. But there is no THC. I did not get stoned on this CBD. I don't know, but I'm suspecting some of these items taken from these convenience stores were just CBD. Now, if it turns out they had THC, different story. But you can separate the two, right?
Absolutely. There is no question, CBD does not make you high.
No, it doesn't.
Now that we had a law enforcement official, sat down there and claimed CBD, this is the level of ignorance that we have in law enforcement, which is unacceptable.
Right.
The Department of Health and Human Services, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, owns a patent on CBD for its neuroprotective qualities, its medical application, and yet we still continue to have this catch-22. I call it the catch-22 of the swamp in Washington, D.C., where they will not remove CBD from this scheduling that they have up there. Now, Schedule 6.
Schedule 6.
Schedule 6 is a Tennessee state scheduling. Tennessee also has drug schedules, and more appropriately, it's not Schedule 1 in Tennessee. And in fact, it's a legal product. And I would submit, you know, our government should not be the author of confusion. Right. Should not be the author of falsehood. And yet we do have this confusion and this falsehood in place with our law enforcement community, and I find it unacceptable.
Is under federal law, is CBD illegal under the federal law?
By the claims of the Drug Enforcement Agency. The Drug Enforcement Agency is trying to outlaw every single natural substance, every God-created substance. They're trying to get control of and block. Why is that? Because their masters at Big Pharma make chemical analogs of natural substances. If you block the availability of the natural substance through the DEA rules and regulations that they have in place, you allow that to be marketed as a man-made synthesized product through the FDA drug space.
So they can control it. And as always, what comes down to this, folks, as it does with everything? Money.
Absolutely.
It's all about money. If you are afraid of CBDs, you shouldn't be. All right, and let me tell you this, and I did a big story on this. Right now, there is a warehouse full of what looks like marijuana but is hemp on the MTSU campus that is legally being grown now, and they are synthesizing CBD from this hemp, which has absolutely no THC, and there are investors that are involved in this. It's a private program within the university setting that is allowing them to develop and learn to create these medicines that are going to be made legal to help a lot of people. It's happening right now legally on the MTSU campus. And yet, at the same time, just down the road, they went in and busted some of these stores. And again, we'll see as this criminal case moves forward whether or not THC turned up in those gummies. If it doesn't, it's going to be an embarrassment for the law enforcement that moved in to do this. And I'm going to ask some questions about why the TBI didn't do a more detailed, because they were right, it's cannabinoid. If that's all they tested for, that wasn't enough. You got to get to, was there the thing in there that makes you stone, that affects people's mindset? Absolutely.
I'll show you the program at MTSU is a wonderful thing.
Oh, it's great. I did a big profile on it.
I attended a press conference and an announcement with Speaker Beth Harwell.
Oh yeah, the governor's behind it. Yeah.
Right behind. This is an amazing program for drug development.
Yep.
This is a significant job producing industry that's going to come about for our healthcare industry here in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee. This is a huge economic opportunity being held hostage by police chiefs who think CBD can get you high. It's ridiculous.
It's misinformation on so many levels. And listen, we've sought to try, and we're going to do another program next week, some folks that are still against the idea of looking at legalizing medical marijuana. And keep in mind, folks, again, I'm not here advocating for recreational marijuana, though that's been legalized in places like Colorado, California, and Oregon. Okay, I think Tennessee's probably going to be the last state ever to do that. But for some of these CBDs and this type of stuff, and as he said, the misinformation, it's just, I'm here to ask him questions, but when I see something that just seems so plain on my face, what's going on here, folks? 737-7587 is the number. If you want to call in, if you have an opinion one way or the other or a question for him, join us now. We'll take a break. Be back. More of our conversation with David Hairston right after this.
When you